Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we are live. This is our first ever live official episode, if you will. We're covering Skinwalkers. This is a good topic. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk, and talk is cheap. I'm your host, Dan Hohlfeld. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today on the K2D4 Network. It is Friday, September 14th, 2018. And Pete is joining me as well here.
How's it going, Internet? Glad to see we've got some viewers out there. I'm excited for this is my first live shows in general, so I'm a little twitchy but excited.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. And the other guy's not here, but we won't talk about that. We do have the chat open here as well, so you guys can interact with us if you wish. And if you don't care to interact there, but you want to get your question read on the air, we do have super chats open, so those will ring up and let us know you're there. We always appreciate the donation, and that goes into the network here. But see, now I forgot that music. But yeah,
well, it's a live show, Dan, so you're gonna have some bugs.
We always appreciate the donations, folks. A lot of this studio was built from my money, and give it what it is. Your donation helps out, so we always appreciate that.
Yeah, we got equipment to upkeep and whatnot, so yeah, absolutely, every little bit helps.
So yeah, we'll be opening the phone calls later on. I'll put that number up, and you guys can call in and interact with us if you wish. This is going to be great. And Chad Denhart in the chat room there says Skinwalker is a great subject of interest. Yes, this is a very, very good one. But before we get to that, got a few dirty laundry things to air here. We had a contest the other week with our sign. Remember our drawing of our sign? And that was won by Maddie, and he actually sent me a picture. So let's take a look at that.
Oh, all right. Hey, there it is. Hey, Maddie, looking good, man.
So this is the real. And then he says here in the quotes, took this in the exact spot my fiance and I seen the UFO in. I thought that was fitting. Thank you guys again. So awesome as always, as you can see. Cool, yeah. It was a legit contest. We didn't make this stuff up. It was actually somebody.
And yeah, I'd like to say thanks, Maddie, for your patience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we got a voicemail from Shauna. Let's listen to that real quick.
Hi, you guys are going to laugh at me, but this is Shanna calling from Michigan again, and I'm watching your video about the dogmen, and it happened to make me think of a topic that I think would be interesting for you guys to cover, and they're called Skinwalkers, and maybe look into that and see what you come up with. It reminded me of the dogmen. So that was my topic I wanted to tell you about. Okay, bye.
All right. Thank you, Shanna, for the suggestion. Yes, very good topic. And this does go together with the Dogman episode we did.
Yep.
And we covered Skinwalker Ranch as well.
Yep. Yeah. And the Skinwalkers in general, you can go in so many different directions with origins and stuff and what they really are. Even in the Sasquatch world, there's often talk of dogmen, and then when you get to the dogmen, as Shanna said, you start to think about Skinwalkers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it is a super cool subject, and so I'm with Chad on that one.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into this. So Skinwalkers. So it's also known as Yanalushi. Now, that's how the natives say it. So that goes into definition. He who walks on all four legs. So the wiki is, in the Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch or person who has the ability to turn in, possess, and disguise themselves as an animal. Now, the way they do this is they wear a pelt of the dead animal, wear it over them, and they get the power of that animal.
Of that, and then can take the shape of it.
It's pretty crazy stuff.
Yep.
So let's talk about the appearance here. So basically they're naked except for an animal skin, and some people said they looked like hollowed out dog-like animals. Crazy, crazy stuff, as Pete always says here.
Yeah.
I have that clip, damn it.
Crazy, crazy stuff, right?
So
it is.
Yeah, some of the animals that they a lot of them, I mean, they can basically turn into anything, but some of them are like coyotes, wolves, foxes, eagles, owls, crows. And I got on screen here a picture of one. Now, this is typically what you're going to see when people talk about skinwalkers. They have that pelt over. It kind of looks like a person, yet it kind of doesn't.
Yeah, this artist depiction, you can see the claws on its feet, very animal-like feet and hindquarters there. So he's not totally humanoid, but somewhat.
And that fits right into the dog man stuff we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. And I think depending on how you, in what, I guess, context you're discussing it, the terms might be slightly interchangeable at times. But when you get into the skinwalkers, you do get into a much more lore, witch doctorous, special mystical powers kind of stuff than just, say, a creature that is part man, part dog.
Yeah, this one here, let me blow it up for you folks. It's a little freaky. That's why I put it actually as a thumbnail of this video. I mean, if you saw that coming after you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What the hell are you gonna do? It's like,
well, and living in a culture where it's accepted that this thing is out there too. Yeah, it would be kind of intense.
So some people describe the eyes now as they can be red, yellow. There's been accounts of those. The smell now is like, they say it smells bad, like dead meat,
like rotting
flesh. You
and
can freaking smell these things.
See, and I just want to point in, being a kind of a Sasquatch interest myself, all of those things you just said with the eyes and the smells are associated with other potentially undiscovered humanoid things.
So the location of these now, so this is, we were talking about the Navajo Indians. I might have to keep moving this to switch screens. What the hell? Okay, so we're talking about this upper right-hand corner of Arizona. Now, Skinwalker Ranch is up here, just to give you some perspective on that. So, like, they use these to gain, like, the witches will use these to, you know, if they want to take a coyote, they're going to use that for the speed. That's an advantage of having the coyote. You can go that fast. So there's been accounts of them running fast as like 35 to 60 miles an hour and traveling as much as 200 miles in one evening.
Ooh.
Now, I had to look up how fast can a coyote run, and it is
43 maximum speed.
43.
Right in the middle of that.
And then we got the wolf down here, 31 to 37, and the reindeer, 37 to 50. So
a cougar can run up to 50 miles an hour too.
If you're taking up these, what better way to, okay, I gotta haul ass and get some
you know,
speed and give her hell.
Yes.
All right, so now the way they transform into these, this is beyond sick. So in order for them to get initiated into this, they basically have to kill a close relative or a sibling, and that gives them that indoctrination.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
So it's like you're checking your morals. You know, you're demonstrating that you've got no moral compass by killing a close family member.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then you only have to do that once though, and then you become the skinwalker, and then you don't have to kill a close relative every time you want to transform.
But the other thing is, once you're a skinwalker, you can't come back.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the encounters. Oh, the Navajos also talked about how they feed on fear. That's basically their main purpose. They'll try to get you really scared and feed. You know, kind of like we were talking about the black-eyed children.
Yep.
Bring that scared state and then feed off of that.
That negative energy.
Yeah,
or
just
whatever,
like shadow beings as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one encounter. This other dude. He talked about like he's seen one. And we're gonna get into some stories. I want to read a couple stories here on the show. And then he didn't know what to do. It was so scary. It was up by him, and then basically he just started acting big and just screaming at it. And finally the thing went like and got scared and went
ran
off.
off.
So if you show some force,
yep, if you're not willing to succumb to the fear and basically standing up to the bully, it's gonna take off the other way.
You gotta warn people.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the same thing with an alien abduction. You know, if you put a mental shield in your mind, it supposedly can help stave off, you know, abductions and stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so some of the history, like this goes way back. These actually used to be good. They actually at one time helped spy on the Spanish invaders when they came over in the ships.
Okay.
And they were actually
a lot of good that did, but
yeah, what are you gonna say? They're over here, they're over there. I guess that's all you can kind of do with it. So yeah, attacks mostly happen at night usually, or encounters, I should say. They do attack. I did see a couple of stories of them, well, definitely attacking animals, but as far as people, there's only a few here and there. It's not a lot like I thought I would have came into contact with. It's more of just scaring you and bringing you that fear state, if you will. So some of the encounters they're climbing on the, banging on the windows, climbing on the roofs. They're inside sleeping. They can hear them over there.
As they're just basically trying to get this fear, you know, instilled in their potential victims, right? They're gonna.
It can happen.
It can happen. So I see you over there looking at that thing. I kind of wait for it to see what's coming up next. So they'll kind of peeping Tom, and as well as, you know, kind of do that prankster stuff, bang on your windows.
Yep, the pick in the window, scare the hell out of you. They have the ability to read human thoughts.
Okay.
And now this is the real important one. Make human voices to lure you in.
So like they might be down behind the shed or something, and you hear someone, hey, come here for a minute.
And it's one of those things where if they got to ask the permission.
Yep.
That's how they do it. Kind of like, there was this one encounter I was reading where they made it sound like a hurt girl to try to get the boys to come over and help her.
And then he would do whatever to them when they got in there.
And it's interesting. It's hard to find any accounts of that happening. So another thing, we talked about this. You talked about this on the Skinwalker Ranch. They had that dog thing. They tried to shoot at it.
Yep.
The bullets didn't do anything.
Right, yep.
And now the Navajos say you got to dip the bullets in white ash. And then if you don't have white ash, you got to shoot it when it's in its human form.
Okay.
Because you did talk about it being a dog form.
Right.
So they tried to shoot it so it didn't do anything.
Yep, correct. Yeah. Bullets were ineffective on it. I would guess they didn't have their bullets dipped in white ash. But, you know, that's not a terrible idea just to do that as a practice anyway.
A junior Western bacon cheese.
A junior Western with no white ash. So at least there
no onions.
No onions. So there is a way to fend them off. You know, it's kind of like a hybrid between vampires and werewolves a little bit. You know, you've got I guess it's not a silver bullet, it's a white ash bullet, you know, and looking in windows and
right. Yeah, so this is the other big issue here. So I did tie this in already with the black-eyed children. So you're not supposed to think or talk about them, and the Navajo Indians are pretty adamant about that.
Yep.
Because when you do that, that's when they show up.
Okay.
And there's been a few stories where they showed up when they were talking about them the night before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we've just opened ourselves up, potentially.
Potentially. It's not the first time on this show.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
No.
So basically what you're saying, Dan, is that when I get home tonight, I better dip some bullets in white ash and keep it handy.
Definitely.
Because if something's banging on the windows.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
All right.
I love those. So the thing they talk about when they're transforming into these other forms, some people say, okay, we were following this wolf coyote thing up the hill, it disappeared. The Indians say, no, it doesn't disappear. It changes into something else. So if you're following a coyote, it might have changed into a bird, took off.
Yep, or a rabbit and is hiding in a bush or something like that.
And you don't know.
Yep.
So let's go through. Well, before we do this, I should open the phone lines. It is pretty early. We didn't even get it. I cruised through that. Oh, 16 minutes already. Well, let's say hi to the chat here real quick.
Sure.
Pete, we are live.
Yep, go for it. Say hi to him.
So we got some people talking about the telescope observatory. Did you look at that, Pete?
Oh yeah, I looked into that a little bit. Kind of weird. That's like been taking the internet by storm right now. FBI swooped into the Sunspot Observatory, evacuated everybody, shut it down, not telling anybody anything. Allegedly, there's been workers in the observatory section in the towers on the dishes or whatever, the antenna arrays or whatever. And what this observatory does is it studies sunspots on the sun. So it's looking at the sun and observing sunspots. So they think that they found something crazy on the sun. You know, of course, the conspiracy theorists are coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, they must have seen aliens, this and that. But you know what it reminded me of right away is, remember we watched some videos, and I forget what episode exactly it was, but of things harnessing energy from the sun, and it looked like, you know,
like UFOs.
Yeah, UFOs and stuff. I think maybe it was like in one of the earlier episodes when we talked about large super alien ships, you know, out in deep space. But but anyway, so people are saying, oh, they must have seen something on this, maybe, you know, harvesting energy, or we had the one show where we talked about the sun becoming a Stargate on occasion if things line up right and stuff. Maybe that happened, who knows? But I'll tell you what, people are saying, what the heck's going on down at the Sunspot Observatory?
Yeah, that's the other interesting thing, though. It's called Sunspot. The telescope.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing, is studying sunspots.
So it's like a hell of a coincidence. You know, did they find something that they shouldn't have, and then they swooped in? Or there's so many speculations of what the hell is going on with it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Well, my prediction is it will just fade from the media spotlight, and we really won't hear much about it unless you really do a lot of digging.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah. They'll talk about it for a couple of days, and then I'll
Come again.
How are your finances going?
Not too bad. That was Dr. Phil.
Bad. Yeah, nice.
Dr. Phil.
Okay. Yeah, I heard Jack Black on there earlier, so ordering his.
Okay, let me open up the phone lines. I'm going to read a few stories of the Skinwalkers. These are pretty interesting. Some of them are like, whatever, but there's a really couple good ones here I want to get into. But I'll open the phone lines here if you guys want to call in and interact with us. So, you know, just we don't have to be on topic if you don't want to. This is our first live stream. Let's just have fun with it and chill a little bit.
Yeah, be cool.
So you can call us live. That's 1-605-562-0444. That's 1-605-562-0444. You got to put a call ID in. That's 146-509-pound. 146-509-pound.
Oh, it's like a conference call then.
Yeah, so we can get multiple calls. Well, they get queued in. That's why I like this new phone system.
Yep. Oh, cool.
And yeah, we'll get you up. If you're in a different area, I do have in the description below, find the number that you're closer to, and it's a free call. I believe there's some over in UK, Ireland, Australia. That's all there. See which one's closer for you guys, and it should go through nice and easy. So, all right, I'm going to bring up some stories while people call in. So here's one. Okay. Yanalushi is watching me. My grandmother on my mother's side has always been very superstitious, for lack of a better word. She's not religious, but she does not believe in a lot of paranormal stuff. Her mother was full-blooded Navajo and her father was Irish. Either way, she's never been anywhere east of Montana, and she grew up in Nevada. One year when I was in grade school, we went to visit her. Most of the visits was pretty uneventful, typical boring old people stuff. I've been there.
A fillet of fish sandwich.
And okay, she kept her curtains drawn shut and always would peek out the window when someone would ask what she was doing. She would simply reply, Yanalushi is watching me. This went on for nearly the entire visit until a few days before we were due to leave. My grandmother and then my baby brother, he's 19 now, were in front of the yard that evening planting flowers when all of a sudden my grandmother starts shouting his brother's name. Get away from that creature. It's not safe. Of course, being in Nevada, we all assumed that my brother had found a scorpion or rattlesnake. So we all run outside to see my grandmother clutching my little brother and shaking in terror against the side of the house. Standing out in the yard was a large black Great Dane-sized dog. It was staring at my grandmother with an intensity I've never seen before. It looked up at us, gave us a little huff, and pounded off. I don't remember if it moved unusually fast or not, but I do remember it had really deep yellow eyes. And then he says, when my mother asked my grandmother what had happened, she kept repeating, "The Yenalushi has found me." She moved a couple weeks after that. Scary stuff, Pete.
Yeah, interesting story. Interesting story.
So here's another one. It moved like a rocking horse. Now this is pretty, like, what the hell? You almost could see like this would be in a scary movie.
Yeah, right.
My uncle is Mexican and Native American, and this happened in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. He was driving around with his girlfriend late at night, and they saw something that looked like a huge black dog on the side of the road. He slowed down, and the dog began crossing the road. Instead of walking like a normal dog would, this thing moved like a toy rocking horse.
That's interesting.
He said it stopped in the middle of the road and stared at them, and its eyes had a red glow. My uncle is the most badass person I know.
All
And
right.
scared the crap out of him.
Yep.
Definitely.
Now there's a statement. The badass uncle was scared.
You gotta warn people. He's a man.
I find, like specific details, curiously absent from these stories, but it's interesting.
Well, yeah, these things could probably go on forever.
Yeah. And see, in both of those instances, it could have been described as a dog man.
Sure,
and so
absolutely.
they're in an instances, an example where they kind of can be interchanged for descriptions.
I want to point out somebody in the chat says
JM Ferrin.
Yeah, it says Skinwalkers are no joke. There are hundreds of stories here in New Mexico. So you hear about these in that southern, western.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily get a lot of Skinwalker talk in the Midwest or out east, but that's where you get dogman sightings. So maybe
Right.
maybe it just, as it crosses the mountains, it changes, and now it's just the eastern culture, east of the mountain culture's interpretation of the same thing.
Oh, you bring up a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's continue. Now I cut this one in half. The story was pretty long, so I just got to the good part here. It was maybe 11 at night, and we were playing Truth or Dare after telling scary stories. And my 14-year-old cousin dared me and my 13-year-old to go walk out through the pass for 10 minutes or so. We were just out walking for our expedition on
Yeah, right.
and
The Sasquatch expedition.
we were talking about how scary that was.
Yeah, that was dark as crap though that night.
Oh, absolutely. We went down that one trail and just got completely
yeah,
pitch
you
black.
couldn't see the hand 2 inches in front of your face.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Okay, so he said yes right away, and it wasn't exactly scared and rather level-headed, but my younger cousin was a bit more hesitant. We didn't bring a flashlight. We've been there because it wasn't pitch dark yet.
Sure.
And we could see enough not to die. We were walking through the pass for about 5 minutes and could barely see the fire through the trees when we decided to turn. In the middle of the path was a large dog-like creature hunched over with its front hands an inch from the ground. Ooh, where is that one?
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
What I remember most was how its eyes were so bleeping bright white. So they're white too. And was humanoid, dog-shaped with a human head, but a dog-like body, but human hands and feet. It looked right at us, and I know I was paralyzed with fear as it dashed away the opposite way from us, towards the creek that ran through the yard. Eventually, my cousin and I screamed bloody effing murder, and the other cousins and my grandmother ran to us. I don't remember much here because I was really disoriented and I couldn't think properly. But I did wake up in bed. So very interesting there.
So young teenager, right? In that case.
Right. And then, if they get too young, some people don't believe them that they saw that stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But
yeah.
actually, they probably do see more of it because when you're younger, you're open to the...
Yeah. You know what was
stuff.
interesting in her is she described it as having a human head, human hands and feet, and a dog-like body. And the artist depiction we looked at earlier, it was kind of opposite. It looked to me more like it had, dog-like legs and hands and more of a human body. So, descriptions vary.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So the Grove. This didn't happen to me, but a very close friend of mine. I've heard a lot about coyotes and skinwalkers, and had a weird experience or two with coyotes. So he was talking about his coyotes. The creepiest one was walk up, and then he saw around his sleeping bag there was paw prints all over without him hearing that during the night.
That would be creepy.
So as he was leaving the area one morning, he had been camping there for a couple days, and said there was a coyote that always seemed to be close by and in his peripheral vision, but never overt. He loaded up his truck and started to drive down the washed out fire road. At the end of the wash, he could see the coyote following him. When he pulled on the road, it was running next to him. Now he was freaked out, so he sped up, and he was going 35 or so, and it was running alongside of him. So he says it's not possible, but I just said that it was, because coyotes can go up to 43. But here's the kicker. When he looked back, the coyote was running on 2 legs.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And was wearing what Patrick said looked like buckskin pants. And an instant later, it was a person wearing a coyote fur keeping pace with his truck. When he looked up again, it was gone. He never went back after that. So fitting back in.
That fits with our earlier kind of Navajo description of what a skinwalker is.
Something like that running along next to you.
That would freak me out, man.
And I would say that other one was always like kind of, you could just picture this running along next to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary, scary stuff. All right, so I think I got 1 or 2 left I want to share. If people want to call in, go ahead and fill her up. Looks like we got 1. Hang in there, buddy. We'll get to you in a second. I want to run through a couple more stories, and we'll get you on the air. Okay, so we got into Benear. How the fuck is
Bandolier.
Bandolier. At probably like 6 or 7 a.m. and set up our camp. After a few hours just talking about what the hell happened at the ruins, I went to take a piss probably only like 300 feet from our camp. Oh, this is the creepy story, by the way.
Oh.
Okay, so this is where everything starts to get a little fuzzy. I remember seeing 2 dust devils coming my way. When I turned around, 2 of my friends were there, and they were motioning for me to follow them. I couldn't help but to follow them, like I was being pulled behind them in shackles. Could you imagine that, Pete?
No, that would be weird.
I followed them for what seemed like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I snapped out of it. These 2 weren't my friends. They had bright red hair with my friends' faces and cat eyes. Both of these friends were brunette. I stopped walking, and they looked at me with the most terrifying gaze I've ever seen. Monsters in movies are nothing compared to this. I turned around and ran as fast as I could back the way I came from. After like 5 minutes of a full sprint, I got back to the rock that I pissed at and found our camp. Everyone was there, still sitting around talking, and I didn't even notice that I was gone. I told them what had happened and the lookalike skinwalkers. He told them about the lookalike skinwalkers, and we packed up everything and left probably within like 10 or 15 minutes and got back to Albuquerque.
So a pair of skinwalkers then took the form of their friends and kind of hypnotized them into following them. That's creepy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Ooh, definitely.
That was a good one.
All right, let's go to the phones. We got one dude on the line here. Let's bring him up. Area code 912. You're on the air with us.
What's going on, man? This is Tim down in Savannah, Georgia. I called in before a couple weeks ago. But what's going on, Pete? Dan?
Hey, how you doing? Tim, you said, from Savannah?
I don't know about the Skinwalker stuff, but that was a pretty creepy story.
Yeah, that last one. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But I yeah, this is off subject, but I watched
Go for it.
the Paulding Lights episode with I guess that's you and your brother Dan. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, dude, it was super funny. Did you find any more info out on that after that little excursion?
See, people are saying that they do see it a lot, and the time we went up there, we didn't see it, so it's just hit and miss, and it's still there to this day, I guess. I talked to my uncle. He goes up there probably three or four times a year, and he's seen it. What he said wasn't the car lights, so.
I don't know. This is a pretty funny episode, man. Just wanted to say what's
right
up.
on.
We almost got hit by the hurricane down here, so it's pretty crazy on the East Coast.
Yeah, where'd you say you were? South Carolina?
I'm in Savannah, so it just is missing us, but people get crazy out here because you never know what it's going to do. So, I mean, they had like 10 feet of storm surge up in, I think, Wilmington, North Carolina. But like, it was all evacuations the last few days. People freak out, but I don't know, man. The weather's getting crazy these days with all these hurricanes.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because, well, Corey, I know some of the viewers here don't appreciate Corey good, but I do, and a lot of the stuff he said, you know, we're going to see ramped up weather changes, volcanoes, hurricanes, the whole works, and sure enough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
it's the planet itself is like lashing out at the surface dwellers, you know. I mean, you think about the you know, this hurricane that's hitting America is nothing compared to this super typhoon that's hitting the Philippines, and is going to be was it getting into China as well? I mean, that's 550 miles across. That's crazy crap going on too.
You gotta warn people.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things that I'm not sure you're aware of is that we've been dealing with crazy rainfall the last couple of weeks. We had two separate flood events and homes destroyed. It's been nuts up here.
I saw that. That was pretty crazy too. And it's, you know, it's for, you know, people that aren't that wealthy and stuff. It changes, like insurance doesn't cover it.
Oh yeah,
people are getting anymore.
People are getting screwed on the insurance side right now. So yeah, that's nuts. Well, I tell you what, man, you stay dry down there.
But I like the storms. I think it's kind of cool watching Mother Nature just go crazy, because I sat through the last couple of years in Savannah, and it's eerie. It's eerie. Like, everybody evacuates. Like, our Publix grocery store up the street, it was like military police there guarding it to keep people from looting and stuff. Yeah. All the way to the back of the store. It was interesting to see. We didn't have a lot of problems with looting or anything here, thank God. But Savannah's kind of like a slow town, which is why I've
that's kind of what I was going to say. Like,
here.
they tell you to evacuate, but you know damn well there's going to be people looting all your stuff. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, you don't want to. It depends how bad it's going to be.
I wouldn't leave our house. You know what I mean? Like, if something's going to go wrong, I'm gonna stand guard. But
stand your ground.
You guys' show, man.
All right, thanks. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Okay.
All right.
I'll talk
Take
to you
care,
later.
buddy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your call.
Well, that's cool. Thanks for calling in. And again, stay dry down there.
Absolutely.
You know, they still don't know. They think that it's going to push north, but like you said, with the crazy weather, who knows? Might head south.
Oh, you're catching me off guard.
Crazy stuff. crazy stuff, right?
You know,
he is weird. Yeah.
So, one person said in the chat here, I want to bring this up. It's probably HAARP. You know, that's a good point too, because if they didn't start it, they could stop it. And the fact that they're not stopping it,
maybe.
What's wrong with you people?
Yep. Well, it's a way to take our mind off of maybe some bigger issues going on on the planet, and the rich will come in and rebuild for us.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aliens. I wish, if there's aliens out there right now, man, why aren't they stepping in and doing something about this crazy stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do your dance.
I'm having too much fun here, folks.
Dan's having a blast with the little button pushing thing.
So if anybody else wants to call in real quick, that's 1-605-562-0444. It's been great having a second person on here live in studio to take some calls with me.
Yeah, I know that you've done a few live shows on your own about some different subjects and stuff, but yeah, tonight drug me in. I appreciate that. That's kind of cool. It's going pretty well so far, I think. So
I wanted to mention before we close up, that, oh, let me get my notes here. They disappeared on me. What? So next Friday, big announcement here. I'm going to have Lauren Hansen and Allison Coe on. We're going to do a live stream again, just like this. You can call in. I haven't actually asked their permission if they want to do live, but I'm going to try to twist their arm if they want to do live. But yeah, next Friday, 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, folks.
What are you guys going to be talking about?
We're going to talk about our manifestations about the trip to Arizona now. So if anybody has been living under a rock, Allison Coe is going to give a talk down in Arizona, Sedona. I always wanted to go to Sedona. So I had my own manifestation with this too. So I'm going to get down there too.
You're going to go down there? When is that?
This is in 2 weeks.
You'll be
in Arizona.
In Arizona in 2 weeks. So
Arizona.
1 week.
Arizona.
Oh, so 1 week from tonight, the live show with you, Allison and Lauren, and you'll be discussing this trip to Arizona.
Yep.
And then a week after that, you'll be down there.
Yep. We'll talk about the manifestation, how it all came about. I had a lot of synchronicities happen. This is so insane how this all came about here, folks. Everything just went right after another. Like, I'm supposed to go to this. And it's like, I've always had an itch to go to Sedona, and now I'm going to have my chance. So
that's cool, man.
Again, that's the 2018 Great Awakening Messages from Our Galactic Family Conference down there. And we'll be down there Saturday, the 29th. So if anybody's in the area, we'd love to see you. Go ahead and say hi to me, and Allison, Lauren, we'll all be there.
Any plans for some on-site live stuff down there, Dano?
I'm going to bring a camera with, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
But I don't know about live. I'll just film and probably have some stuff up.
I'll put it up later. Yeah, like the highlight reel.
I'm going to bring my laptop with, so I could probably, depending on their Wi-Fi.
Well, I don't want you to commit to anything or put you on the spot. I'm just more curious, you know.
I always under-commit and over-deliver.
Ooh, that's the good way to do it. That way you're always exceeding expectations,
Absolutely.
man. That's good to know.
So also, we will have our normal show next Saturday through the magic of
the internet.
And some solid holographic technology. I'll still be in the studio.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
So
Awesome.
That'll be interesting.
So, Dan, you talk about the Sedona trip. That's cool because I don't know, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about doing a camping outing at the Isetti Ranch next year sometime.
Yes.
So
if you're down, I'm down for that too.
I may or may not be down, but I think I will be. So we'll keep that on the tip of our tongue, because that would be awesome to get down there for a extended.
And I think if we
duration.
did that, we'd probably want to shoot for July, August.
Yeah, it will be pretty warm, I bet.
So it'd be something like that.
I wonder if we couldn't. We'll do some research and see what time of year is the best for sightings historically and stuff like that too, and see if there's a certain.
It sounds like he has it every night, no matter what night you go. He just said the best weather was August or September.
Oh, sure. For just weather, you don't have to deal with this stuff. Okay, well, cool. Something else to keep our ear to the ground.
Oh, I hit the glory hole.
That was a good one.
Since 1988.
Okay, I guess if it's been a successful live stream. So Pete, I'm gonna click our credits.
All right. Thanks everyone. It was a fun live show on Talk is Cheap.
First, we'll have to do many more of these.
Yes.
And bring everybody in. It's fun to have this interaction. I'd like to get more people calling in, but I can understand why people don't.
Yeah, I liked watching the feed go by, and watching people comment. That was pretty cool too.
The chat there.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't do the tagline. Where talk is cheap, where cheap is talk, and talk is cheap.
See you guys later.